Yeah, before we proceed, I request you all to turn off your mics. And if you have any queries, please drop them on the comment box. And towards the end of the program, there will be a quiz question for all of you. And whoever first drops the correct answer on the chat box will get a present. So best of luck. And so without further delay, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Jack Barton.
Okay. Thank you, BD. Namaskar sabaiलाई. My name is Zachary Barton. I came from Canada to Nepal about 17 years ago. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really excited about this topic we're talking about today, agroecology, something very close to my heart, something I'm incredibly passionate about, and something which is really important for the future of Nepal and for the future of all humanity and all life on this earth. I'm super happy to see all these young people involved today and taking the opportunity to educate yourself, even in this time of lockdown, in this time of pandemic, that you are making an effort to watch webinars and learn more. It's very impressive. I'll just say something. Right now, we decided to do this in English just because we do have an international group of people that are taking this webinar. So there's some people from Canada, Australia, Pakistan, and then across Nepal. And I see people from Kathmandu, from East Nepal, from West Nepal, all across the country. So a very diverse group of people. I want to say welcome and namaste to you all. You are the reason why I wake up in the morning and I work hard all day, and the reason why I want to give these webinars and I want to educate as many people as possible, because the topic we're talking about today is about your future. And it's about agroecology, which gives us a pathway to move forward to create resilience and sustainable systems in regards to food production, but also how we can repair the damage that we've done to the earth and the ecological systems which provide for all life. So I'm really happy to be here today, and I'm going to share screen and jump into the presentation. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So yeah, I'm from Almost Heaven Farms. Again, my name is Zachary Barton. We're out in East Nepal in a district called Ilam and Japa. And I first came to Nepal 17 years ago as a young man to volunteer and to travel around Nepal, do some trekking. Mostly I just wanted to come somewhere which was incredibly different from Nepal. I love nature, incredibly different from Canada, and that's what Nepal gave me. I love nature, I love mountains, I love farming, I love the village side, I love Nepali culture, the people, and the beautiful diversity of this country. And all of these great experiences I've had have led me down a pathway in life, which is a pathway moving forward to this earth and her ecological systems. And that pathway, a social enterprise called Almost Heaven Permaculture Farms, which is based out of Suryodaya Municipality in Fikal, Ilam, East Nepal. We're in the hillside of the eastern Himalayan mountains in the shadow of Kanchenjunga Himal, the third highest mountain in the world. It's a beautiful place. And Almost Heaven Farms is a permaculture demonstration, training, resource, and research center. And we are focused on bringing the principles of permaculture to life and finding a way to help develop regenerative and resilient communities across Nepal. And even taking a wider view is we're really focused on working across this bioregion. So what I would define as the Himalayan bioregion, stretching across the Himalayan mountains. Permaculture is a design science, and what we do is we take the principles of ecology. Okay, the principles of the ecology means the ways in which nature is both self-sustaining and abundant. And we take those principles and we apply them to the design of sustainable human habitats. Now, this webinar is not long enough for us to get into permaculture, but please feel free to look up what it is and do some of your own research. It's an amazing thing, and again, one of those things which are going to be key for us to move forward in a healthy way as humans. Now, a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between permaculture and agroecology? So I'm just going to come back to this here for a minute. So permaculture is a design science in which we address pretty much every part of life, with agriculture being a big part of it, and agriculture being the root of where permaculture started from. But since its origin back in Australia, when David Mollison and Holmgren were working on developing this, it's really grown since then. So I would say the main difference to understand between permaculture and agroecology is that permaculture is applying those principles of ecology to everything in our life. So from education to business to economy, to our farms, to our lands, to restoration, to politics, to activism, to development, to international development, to science, to everything. So permaculture is much more of a big picture. It includes everything. Now, when we talk about agroecology, we're going to focus a little bit more on food growing systems. So as you can see in permaculture with our ethics and our design principles, education and culture, health and spiritual well-being, finances, land stewardship, building tools and technology. So we focus on all of that. Agroecology is more about our land and our growing systems and things that are directly connected to those. So what is agroecology? I want to give you a short introduction to what it is, and then we're going to move on to why it's needed real quickly, and then I'm going to go a little bit deeper in exactly what agroecology is and the elements within it. So agroecology, I mean, if you guys can break up that word, there's two words. One is agriculture and one is ecology. So we're really talking about an ecological approach to agriculture, or as the name of this webinar is the farm as an ecology. Slowly, humans have separated themselves from nature and from land. And across the world, we've even separated ourselves from farms and moved into cities where that connection of ours with nature and with ecology have been broken. And unfortunately, with the Green Revolution and industrialization, our farms have become simply food production centers or commodity production centers, only producing one thing, which is food or crops. And we forgot that that land, that soil is actually a living ecology, and it's not just a farm. So I always tell farmers that your farm is not only a farm, it's a living ecology. So this idea now is to move away from industrialization and start to understand our farms as living ecologies and manage them accordingly. So I'm not going to take a lot of time on this because I think we all know what problems we're facing. And really lately people have started to acknowledge that agriculture is one of the biggest problems. It's how we manage our land and how we grow our food has become such a destructive system that we're replacing healthy ecological systems like a forest or a swamp or a wetland. We're replacing them with degraded monocropped agricultural lands. And by doing so, we're losing all of the ecological services, and we're going to get into what that means. It's very important. What ecological services do our lands play? But we're losing them. So we're replacing healthy forests with degraded farmlands, and we know it's causing a lot of problems. We've separated ourselves from nature. We've separated ourselves from the animal worlds, and we've even separated animals from their nature in what we're doing. And it's causing a lot of problems. And anybody who reads the news about what's going on in the world these days knows that climate change is already upon us. It's already causing big problems across the globe, and making it even more difficult for us to support life on Earth. And in Nepal, we're not removed from this. Although we live in a beautiful country with beautiful natural resources, and we're very, very fortunate compared to other places in the world, we are not escaping it. And just what we've done to Kathmandu, our capital, which when I came to Nepal for the first time 17 years ago was a beautiful, fantastic combination of city and farmlands. And when I walked to Swayambhu, I would have to walk through farmlands to get there. And and we've replaced those farmlands. We've covered them in cement with big buildings and big houses. And we now suffer the consequences in Kathmandu, which is pollution and all the consequences that come with that. So, I mean, let's not get caught up on the problems. We all know what they are. We really need to move past the problems and start looking at the solutions. So what are the challenges we're facing? I mean, we're talking about things like food security, the nutritional value of food going down. We're talking about forest fires. We're talking about water problems. We're talking about climate change, the loss of biodiversity. So many things which are affecting all life forms on this earth. And it's not only us humans, because we share this earth with a crazy diversity of other life forms, which are unfortunately also being devastated by our agricultural system. So if agriculture is a problem, agriculture is also one of the biggest solutions we can put forth to deal with the problems that we have created. So let's get into deeper a little bit about what agroecology is and how it can help us, how it can present some solutions for us to move forward in a more healthy and regenerative way. All right, let's move out of stinky Kathmandu and on to agroecology. So there's 10 elements of agroecology as determined by the FAO as needing to be adopted by agricultural communities across the globe in order for us to implement some of these solutions. So diversity, co-creation and sharing of knowledge, synergies, efficiency, recycling, circular and solidarity economy, responsible government, human values, resilience. And let's start with diversity. So I love this photo. This is a permaculture farm who has implemented agroecology into it. Now, let's just take a moment to look at this photo really clearly, okay? There's actually two farms in this picture, all right? Now, one is very obvious. You can see the border of it. It's, it's the one below the road. But above the road is also another farm. Now, look at the difference between these two farms. One is degraded soil, completely monocropped, completely empty, barren. I mean, if you look at above the road, there's 2 trees. Okay, that's it. Below the road, and that's conventional industrial agriculture. Below the road is a permaculture farm. Okay, just fully implemented agroecology. You see much more diversity. And I mean, I'm talking about diversity of everything. They have diversity of landscapes, they have diversity of crops, diversity of trees, fruits, even a diversity of designs within there. They have wetlands, they have tunnels, they have homes, they have a teaching space, they got cottages, gardens, food forests, everything. So, I mean, it's this diversity which is really key, okay, to us ensuring that we have food security, ensuring that our food is nutritious and we're healthy, as well as conserving, protecting, and enhancing these natural resources. So these people are, you know, building soil. They're creating habitat for animals. They're growing healthy food. And I mean, just think in your mind, where would you rather live? Above the road or below the road? Okay, where would you rather go visit even for one night? Where would you go and rather go hang out just for an hour? You know, and so this diversity within the agroecological systems not only brings beauty, okay, but it really brings security to our lives and to all life forms. And for me, this is just outside our at the front of our farm. It's really the beauty of it, you know, when you get to wake up in the morning and go out and sit on that bench with your first cup of tea and look out across this garden full of different shapes and sizes of plants and colors and different insects floating around, and you can go and walk through and just pick something up and eat it because it's not sprayed with chemicals and you don't have to worry about washing it. I mean, that's a really key, you know, to having a healthy life for us and all beings on the planet. The co-creation and sharing of knowledge. So, I mean, what we're talking about here is when challenges come up locally, as a local community, we need to be able to work together through what we call a participatory process to address these challenges. So, I mean, whether it's climate change, whether it's a political problem, a social problem, with COVID-19, what we really need is everybody to participate in making it happen. I was just reading an article about the COVID response in East Nepal and especially in Elam, and they've been ranked, the government's been ranked really high because they had a lot of support from different local organizations and groups, including farmers groups, which all stepped up and stepped together to respond to this challenge of coronavirus. So, and I mean, this really means us getting together and sharing our knowledge, sharing our skills, building community around it. And this, I mean, when we say co-creation, it means that we're all involved in creating the solutions for the future. And I mean, we all have knowledge to share. This is a photo of Alicia Magar and Juan Fran Lopez. And this is a training for farmers on how to make and use biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are fertilizers which you can make on farm with local resources to improve your soil and grow healthy plants. This is local, happening locally, but sharing of knowledge from country to country, from community to community, and even farmer and farmer are really key. Now we talk about synergies. So in permaculture, we always talk about the integration of things. The synergy of things is when we start to understand how things are all connected. Anybody out there who has ever heard of systems thinking? If you have not heard about systems thinking, please go educate yourself on it, because it is one of the most important concepts you will ever learn in your whole life, and you will be able to use it in everything you do. But yeah, the whole point is understanding that everything are connected, and how do we take advantage of those connections? How do we integrate everything together? In Nepal, we say ek tatwa bata anek kam, and this means that we understand that everything are connected, and that everything gives multiple benefits. So building synergies, enhancing key functions across the food systems, but then also the ecosystem services that we get. So when we're running a farm, yes, we produce food, but that's not the only service which we provide. So healthy farms and healthy soils and healthy ecologies, they help regulate the climate. They help purify water. They help capture carbon from the atmosphere, lock it in the soil. We create habitats for organisms, animals, okay? We regulate flooding, right? Our farms are producing firewood, energy sources. So our farms, that's why I say farm is not just growing food. There's so many things that we are doing when we have that diverse, synergetic system going on. Efficiency. So, I mean, as much as we like to think that we are not efficient in Nepal, and that we need to have more technology, more machinery, more chemicals, you know, to be able to produce as much as a foreign country produces, that's bullshit. We are efficient because we are not consuming the world to death to produce food. So yes, in Japan, they can grow 2 times more rice than us, but they're also putting heavy chemicals, and they need heavy machines, and all the farmers are going in debt, and it's an unsustainable system. We are more efficient in Nepal. Yes, we're growing maybe less food than other countries, but we're growing food sustainably without destroying all of the ecologies around us. So we have efficient systems, which other countries should learn from us. You know, I don't think we need to go to Israel to learn about agriculture. I think Israel needs to come to Nepal to learn about agriculture. For those of you that know what's going on with the agricultural students going to Israel and stuff. But yeah, so in agroecology, we really strive to have efficient systems which can grow food without needing anything from outside. So, I mean, when in Nepal we talk about self-sustainability and this Atmanirbhar, that's what makes us efficient. Recycling. So really within our agricultural systems, and again, this is naturally something we do in Nepal, which is why we already are practicing agroecology in Nepal somehow. We want to have recycling throughout our environment, throughout our farms, so nothing gets wasted. So, I mean, you can see in this diagram that from the animals, from the pig manure, we feed the fish. The fish make water, which we can use for irrigation. The manure goes in the gardens grow more food. The house also is producing waste. So we're creating like kind of a closed cycle in which all energy and all resources stay within our system. So, I mean, even if you think about just human manure, okay? So in Kathmandu, all the food's going into the city, people eat, okay? They go to the toilet, we throw it in the river. That's not a closed system. That is not an efficient system, and it creates waste, it creates pollution, and it costs us a lot. So yeah, so even how do you reuse human waste? Put it in a biogas, in a gobar gas system, make gas for it. What comes out can be used as compost in your food. And I know like some people feel, oh, that's disgusting, but that's how nature works. So kind of recycling everything through our system to be more efficient and to lower the economic and environmental costs associated with growing food. resilience. So when we talk about resilience of people, communities, and ecosystems, I mean, how do we have it all? And this resilience, I think, speaks more to the work we do in permaculture. And I mean, we talk about sustainable food and agricultural systems, but I mean, we can even talk about regenerative systems where we are regenerating the damage we've done to the earth. But it is really about thinking about the people, the communities, and the ecosystems. So our working has to be around including people, women's group, ethnic minorities, youth, farming communities, urban communities, businesses. So we want to bring all of those people into this conversation so that we can build real resilience. And how we do that is, I mean, by, you know, maintaining and protecting these human and social values. So especially in the context of Nepal, we need to be working on protecting and improving rural livelihoods, okay? Equality and equity, and I mean the social well-being of the people is what's going to lead to sustainable food and sustainable farming systems. In Nepal, we understand this really well because the majority of people are farmers and live in the village, but we haven't done such a great job at that because we've let our rural environments get degraded. We've lost all of our youth are either in the big city centers or even more so abroad. And that just sucks all of the life out of the village. And I mean, my passion is about villages and village development. So a lot of this work around agroecology has to be about how do we bring life, how do we bring opportunity, how do we bring youth and that energy back to the village? How do we make that opportunity? Now, I understand that nobody wants to be a farmer. I totally understand it. I mean, in Canada, nobody wants to be a farmer. In Nepal, nobody wants to be a farmer. I mean, young people. But the reason is because it's boring. And it's because agriculture went in a way which, you know, the farm is only about growing food. But what if the farm is not only about growing food anymore? What happens when the farm is also a research center? What happens when the farm is also a school? What happens when a farm is also a resort? Okay, an education center, a training center. Okay, what if the farm is a playground? So it's really, agroecology is really about creating this environment which again is improving the life, just giving life back to that village environment. And if we're creative, we can do it. Yeah, so then we can talk about our culture and our food traditions. You know, in Nepal, we're very lucky with the culture of dal bhat. And I call it the culture of dal bhat, not just a dish. It's not just food, because we actually have a whole culture around that food, from growing the rice ourselves, from growing a diversity of different dals and lentils and vegetables, and then, you know, then preparing all that food. We have so much food culture in Nepal, which keeps us healthy, which gives us food security, which gives us nutrition. We are so fortunate, and we need to be very careful that we don't lose this. We don't go down the road of pizza and hamburgers and junk food and fast food, because this food culture that we have in Nepal is what's so good from us. And I mean, from our own seeds to our own local meat sources to beautiful fermented foods like gundruk, apko achar, you know, all of the sinkis, fermented vegetables, alcohols, everything. So we never think about this enough in Nepal, but this is one of the greatest resources we have. And another reason why in Nepal we are already like halfway doing agroecology. But we can grow this even, we can improve on it. We can, you know, move this even more forward so that youth, all people in the future will still have this knowledge and the resources needed to make this. And there is a direct connection between our health and the health of our ecosystems, right? The more healthy the ecosystem, the more healthy we are. The more healthy we are, the more healthy our ecosystem is. Responsible governance. Okay, I'm gonna stop screen sharing for a minute because I'll come back so you guys can see my face. Hey, Martin. Hey. Yeah, good governance. So I don't have a lot to say about this because I wish I had some really good examples to give you guys about good governance, but I would say right now the world is in such a mess that it's really hard for me to even speak optimistically about this. I think this is one of the main challenges and one of the main problems we have right now. So how are we being governed, and how are we, utilizing our resources? How are we protecting our resources? Who's in charge? How are we educating ourselves? So, I mean, you guys know what good government could be. And it's very hard to find these days. Corporations, rich people, extremists, people with crazy ideologies and power have taken over our government systems, which is one of the reasons why ecologies all around the world continue to be exploited and destroyed in the name of short-term profit, right? I mean, capitalism kills. So the only thing I can think about to say about this really positively is we do need this good governance as we move forward. And my hope for Nepal is that the youth just take over. Because it's what we really need right now is all of you young, educated, experienced, energetic people need to come into power at all levels of government, let your voice be heard, and bring about that change that we need, to bring true resilience and sustainability to our lives. It's your future. The rich old people around the world, and it's the rich old people around the world, they are not going to let go of money, and they are not going to let go of power until they die. And then once they die, they don't care anymore. The future is yours, right? The future is ours. So we need to get better at affecting government and affecting political systems. Of course, I think the most important way for us to do this right now is at the local level and getting involved with local politics or trying to influence local politics as much as we can. But just understand in agroecology that piece also has to be there. We need to find a way to bring that piece into the mix to be able to move forward with this kind of permaculture agroecology movement. It's really important. All right, that's enough of my face for now. Dun, dun. All right. Okay. So the last of the 10 elements, and I really love talking about this stuff, and I mean, this is a big part of what we do in permaculture also, is called the circular and solidarity economy. You guys have probably seen this image somewhere on social media or somewhere at one time. But I mean, we're talking about moving away from an exploitative capitalist economic system, which does not account for the ecological expenses. And I mean, it's really about us kind of reconnecting the economy in a circular way. So just looking at this diagram, I mean, we have a linear economy, which, I mean, you guys know it: buy, use, throw. And everything goes to the dump. The dumps are filling up. We've turned the side of the roads into dumps. We've turned the rivers into dumps. We've turned the oceans into dumps. I mean, everywhere we're just throwing resources because of this linear economy. Now, the myth which they try to sell us is to just recycle. And that's okay. You recycle your bottle, you recycle this, you recycle that, and everything's okay. That's a lie. That's also a lie that we've been taught. That also doesn't work. We need to move to really to the circular economy where things continue to cycle through our system, and we stop producing things which we cannot recycle, you know? So I mean, in Nepal, it's very simple. No more plastic water bottles, no more plastic shopping bags. These are not things which we can recycle through our system very much, right? We need things made out of natural materials. We need things which can be biodegradable, and we need to just stop consuming so much is what a lot of it is about. So a really great thing which I can suggest, which we find in this agroecological movement and stuff, is like buying local things. Stop buying your clothes coming from Vietnam or China or Bangladesh. I mean, go to the local tailor. Let your money, go into your local economy. Let the local economy spin around. Buy from a local farmer, have local food systems. Like it's ridiculous in Canada when they talk about how far away our food comes from. You know, your food is flying in Canada. Your food is flying at least halfway around the world to get to your plate. And so, of course, yes, we're polluting the earth just moving food around. You know, not even talking about all the energy and all the waste that's produced in our industrial agricultural system. But I mean, local. We want to think local. We want to eat local. We want to live local. We want to act local. We want to educate ourselves local. So, I mean, this kind of local economy is best. Okay. And when we think about it in a circular way, we think about keeping our resources inside our community, not letting them all be exploited and going outside. And I mean, again, just another perfect example for Nepal is when all of our young, educated, skilled people are working to make Saudi Arabia or Malaysia rich, and we're losing that resource. So we broke that circle even in our own economy by losing all of our youth, right? We need to bring that back. We need to keep all of those resources, cycle them, okay, in Nepal, in our own local systems, and that's going to make a truly inclusive and sustainable community, right? We need to get back on this. So, yeah, maybe I'll come back and talk for a minute. All right. So those are the 10 elements of agroecology. It's maybe not exactly what you thought it was, because you were maybe thinking we were going to talk about like organic agriculture and saving seeds, and I mean it is all in there, but this agroecology is about something much bigger than that, and how we grow food is really important, but that's not the whole big picture. So agroecology, you can see it as much more of a social movement. It's much more about big picture understanding than it is just about how we grow food. It is about how we grow food, but it's understanding the interconnected pieces which are involved in there. So I think it's really exciting and interesting because there are so many pieces, and for you guys, there might have been like one or two elements which really catch you, like, oh, circular economy. Yeah, we want to do this and this and this with our business. Or about inclusiveness, you know, okay, yeah, how do we get more women involved in the decision-making process? How do we get more youth influence in the political systems? So within this agroecological system, there's a lot of opportunities for you all to be involved. This was just an introduction to it. Each one of those 10 elements we can go much deeper into, and that's what we do in permaculture, right? So we start to go deep into those and create a holistic picture of how we can live sustainably and live regeneratively. So I hope that you guys, after having this introduction, and I'm looking forward to taking your questions because I'm sure you guys have great questions for me. But I think it's really important that you take the time to go deeper yourself and to do more research about what all these different elements are and how they work, right? This is not just like a new movement. This has been people working on this since the 1920s. Permaculturists have been working on this stuff for like 50 years now. But its time has really come, because if we don't do it now, we're all screwed. And humanity is already having big problems, and there's huge challenges facing us, but there are solutions that we have that we can implement, and we can actually solve these problems. So that was probably quite heavy, and it's heavy for me, so I'm sure it's heavy for a lot of people there. I want to show you a little short film on just some farms in Nepal. Let's just enjoy some beauty and some farms in Nepal. So check this little video out. Wait, where did it go? All right. Yeah, my son Mika, he made that for you guys. So yeah, we had a drone working for a while. It's broken now, but it was cool while we had it. Yeah, so that's kind of bringing me to the end of my presentation. So I'll show one more thing here. All right. So this is a beautiful photo that a good friend of mine, Martin Stringer, he's an environmental educator and activist from Australia. He took this beautiful photo. So I mean, here you see elements of agroecology. Our farm, if you look to the left side of your screen, you'll see one house with a big green roof. That's Almost Heaven Farms, and our farm is below the house. But you see in Nepal, we already have a lot of this, let's call it natural infrastructure or ecological infrastructure. We still have functioning ecological systems. We're so lucky, you guys. But this is at threat of being destroyed. And the more chemicals that people use, the more trees we cut down, the more forests we destroy to, build an airport that we don't even need. Okay, and you guys know I'm talking about NISCAD. I mean, that is limiting your guys' future. That is hurting your guys' future. We need to make the world look like this photo. Okay, we need our farms to be like this photo. Functioning ecological systems which produce water, which produce soil, okay, which are habitats for animals, which are cleaning the pollution out of the air and pumping it full of life-giving oxygen. I mean, this is the goal of agroecology, my friends, and this is what we need to strive for. I'm really happy I had the chance to give you guys this this presentation. I encourage you guys to find us on social media and follow us along, because we're always putting out lots of great information, videos. We have a bunch of different groups that you can join. We're going to be doing more education, webinars. Once this Corona craziness kind of is over, we're going to go back full time into farmers field trips, different workshops and training sessions here at the farm and around Nepal. If you guys are interested in educating yourself more and being involved, please check us out at Almost Heaven Farms on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're interested in the biofertilizer work, we do have a Facebook group called Biofertilizer Nepal that you can join. And we just started a new Facebook group called Yes Pali Ramnobali. And that is really about permaculture and organic agriculture in Nepal. Again, you can find that on Facebook. So please, please follow us, join us, and feel free to contact us if you have any more questions. That will be the end of my presentation, and we're going to move on to question and answers. If you guys can give me 1 minute, watch one more short little video, and then I'll be back and we'll do question and answers. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right. BD?
Yeah, hi, Jack.
You want to take over for a minute or what?
Okay, I will. Thank you. Thank you so much for the webinar. It was very informative. So I think we should start taking questions. We have a question in the chat. It's from Swapnil Chaudhary. He's asking, how do you market the surplus production from farm, if any?
Yeah, okay. That's such a good question. So I think when you're talking about those products, you're talking about the ecological services. So I'll tell you guys right now, those of you that are serious about taking on this this adventure, let's call it, of agroecology, there's already people around the world who are doing agroecology, which are getting paid, okay, to capture carbon from the atmosphere and put it in the soil. There's farmers who are getting paid, okay, to stop putting chemicals on their soil, because all of those chemicals are going into the local water source and killing people. And yeah, I mean, there is, the world is looking for a cheap, easy, low-tech solution to climate change. We got it. We are going to capture all of that carbon and put it in the soil, okay? We are going to buffer, we are going to make communities more resilient to climate change. We are going to, maintain and even grow biodiversity. There's seeds being lost every day, seed genetics. There's animals being lost every day. There's bacteria, there's fungus, which has, a market value. And this is really the future. So, I mean, our goal, and one of the things I'm working on, is how to help farmers make money from the ecological services that their land provides. It's there. There's people doing it already.